Hello, my friends. Welcome, Guillaume. Thank you for the hello. If you are here live with us, let us know who you are, where you are. And if you're watching the replay, hello. Feel free to leave us comments. We are happy to talk to you today about getting comfortable, which is why we're in our comfortable sweatshirts, with the ones with the stretched out neck and the faded color, because this is cozy. And I've always been a proponent of growing through joy. You know, a lot of people say like, oh, you got to grow through pain. You got to know the bad to know the good. Sure, it works like that if you want it to, but it doesn't necessarily happen that if you have a really hard time, then you're going to be the happiest person around. It can, but it's a choice. It's also a choice to grow through ease and comfort and joy. And so today we're going to dig into the comfort piece, because I like dispelling the myth that you have to leave your comfort zone in order to grow. I think maybe 0.05% of the time, it's a great idea to jump out of your comfort zone and, you know, have the nervous poops and do the thing that you're really afraid of. But other than that, you want to cultivate that comfort. You want to feel so at home in your life, with your friends, with your partner, where you live, what you do. You want to feel really welcome. You want to feel like there's a hug happening all day long so that you feel confident enough to do the things you want to do, right? And recharged and not in fight or flight all the time. So we're going to dig into that. So hopefully you have your comfortable sweater on too. Hello, Jana. Thank you for being a channel member. You guys, if you want to help support this channel, you can go down underneath this video and click join and check out the membership levels we have, because our Galaxy Pals get a new secret video every single Saturday, and they're really fun. Last week was a reading for the next half of the year. And I do a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of catch ups. We chat in the comments. And also when you join, you get access to the entire back library. So you can watch all of them, binge them all, and join our little community. So feel free to check that out if you want to show your support. And thank you. All right. So how do you feel about comfort? Carrie, you are like the queen of excellence and going for it and being your best. So what does this bring up for you?
Well, it's interesting because I do think that I agree. We don't have to grow through struggle. But when we struggle, it's nice when we choose to grow from it, right? Like,
yes,
if we're going to struggle, we might as well come out the other side having learned something, feeling like we're better because of it. So, and I think we're on the same page with that. In terms of our comfort zone, I think the tricky thing is a lot of us are very uncomfortable with being comfortable. And so that's the tricky part, right? So when you're talking, I was thinking about it, and I always think like exercise physiology and training athletes. And I was like, you need to, if you're going to become a faster runner, you need to run consistently. When you run consistently, you get more comfortable going further, right? So like, if on day one you could only run a mile, it would be really uncomfortable to run 5 miles on day one. But on day 30, if you'd been running just the same amount of minutes every day, even, like, you would probably by day 30, if it took you 20 minutes to run a mile, maybe by day 30, you could run 2.5 miles in 20 minutes, right? So you're expanding your comfort zone without leaving it, right? Every day you ran this. I mean, anyhow. So like, yes, I'm with you there. And some days, sometimes it feels comfortable to get a little uncomfortable, to push a little harder, to do, you know what I mean? And so that's where I'm like, not being comfortable doesn't mean never challenging yourself.
Right.
It doesn't mean never, like you were talking about the nervous poops. And I don't know. I think, could we go through life achieving without ever getting the nervous poops? I think we could.
Yeah.
I think we could. And I also know that, like, we do like occasionally challenge ourselves to expand our comfort zone, to step just to the other side of it, and see what's going to happen. And we do that, right? So going back to the running analogy, like signing up for a race, you know, we do that to get that feeling, to challenge ourselves, to say, I think I can do something that I thought I couldn't, or I want to find out what I'm capable of. And I think as long as we have that curiosity, that like, I want to find out if I can do this, and not I'm signing up and I absolutely must win or I'm a failure, right? Then we're doing it right. So I think we're saying the same thing.
I think so, but I also want to say, like, so you were talking about how, what did you say? People are uncomfortable being comfortable. And I think that is true. And I think it's because people aren't truly comfortable. How relaxed are you? Truly relaxed and happy, content when you're not doing something, when you're at your house. Where are you truly relaxed, not guarded, open-hearted, seeing beautiful things around you, feeling tickled in the moment, right? Do you get there on a regular basis? Do you feel like you are choosing your day, or you're happy with the flow of your day? Like, do you feel comforted by your life, right? There's a lot to explore. Like a lot of times, I've said this over and over, a lot of times we think in order to have the better life, we need to go and get and hustle and strive and leave our comfort zone. But it's so much about melting into where you are right now and fully appreciating what you've already allowed and created, and feeling like you're being hugged right where you sit right now. That is how you allow more in, because everything comes to you. And if your vibe is like, I don't have what I want, I'm stressed out, I got to go get it, you're not a match to what you want. So you're going to find out that, oh, I need to be more stressed, I need to go here, I need to do more, I'm not doing enough, they're telling me to do that, right? So it's like this cycle of never having enough, not ever doing enough. I'm sure that has played in your head many times at points. It has for me. But the trick is to find more and more comfort, more and more ease, more and more appreciation for where you are, because that makes you a match to what you want. What does financial freedom feel like? It feels like comfort. It feels like ease. It feels like contentment. It feels like security, right? What does having your dream house feel like? This is where I belong. This is my house. This is a true reflection of me, right? So the more you can feel that now, the faster those things can come to you, because you are practicing being a match. So even if there's stuff in your current reality that you're like, well, it's actually not what I would prefer, it's not what I would choose, relax and see the things you do like, and selectively focus in a way that you feel comfortable. And that is my thesis for today.
Well, it's got me thinking about how many times I hear people saying, well, I did that. I got really comfortable for a month and nothing happened, right? I got really comfortable for a month.
Yeah.
And then I got really behind on my life and I had to be doubly uncomfortable for the next couple of months.
I just want to point out before you go on that if you have an ulterior motive, if you're choosing to be comfortable in order to change things, then you're waiting for a change, and in which case you are not truly comfortable or appreciative, right? It's so subtle. It is the subtlest thing. Vibration is very subtle, which I will point out is why I'm a coach of alignment, because you need one sometimes. You do. When you're wanting something vastly different from what you have, there's a lot of nitpicky little subtle vibrational changes you need to make in order to be a match to that. And that is what I can help you with. But yeah, if you are wanting your life to change as your primary focus and motivation, that is not going to work.
So I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm going to hire a coach because I want to change, Rachel, right? Like I want my life to be different. And all you're saying is, well, if you want your life to be different, get comfortable with where you are. But if I'm comfortable where I am, then I might not want my life to be different anymore. And then what, right? Like,
and that's when it happens. Yeah. So exactly. This is so perfect. And hi, Jane. I'm so glad you're here too. And more, Guillaume, 100% for sure. Me too. So it's so good. It's so good to see, right? My life isn't what I want. Everyone could say that to something about their life, right? Because we're always going to want more. We're always going to want more. So we're always going to want something to be different. But if we can relax that, get focused on where we are, appreciate, feel content, feel so happy with what we have, see the potential in what we have right now. Ooh, this is transforming all the time. I love watching this. I love being right here in the moment with what I have. Right? That releases you from wanting the thing over there, right? And so it's not missing anymore. It's there's nothing missing anymore, which means there's nothing that you don't have, which means it can actually come to you because it's not missing. Ever look for your keys that you misplaced somewhere and you can't find them and you can't find them and you can't find them, and then you're like doing something else and they're right there, right? They weren't missing anymore. You change the subject in your head and they're right there. It's the same thing with every single thing in your life, right? If you're so focused on wanting something else and not having it, you can't find it. You can't be a match to it. And so, yeah, I want you. Abraham says this all the time. I want you to get so happy with your life and who you are and where you are that you forget about what else ever you want so that it can finally show up.
it makes me think of like those videos when they ask children, if you could change one thing about your body, what would it be? And like, people of our age are like, oh, my stomach pooch or my flabby arms or my wrinkles, right? And little kids are like, I'd have the ability to fly. Or I'd have, like they'd be like, I could be invisible. Like if I could change one thing about my body, like they're not looking at their body as if there's something that needs to be changed. They're thinking of like, what superpower would I add? Even though they were asked the same question, right? If you could change one thing about your body, and they don't say, oh, I'd get rid of my freckles. They would say like, I would have wings,
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing, I just saw one with a little kid that it was like, if you could change one thing about yourself. And he thinks for the longest time. And then he's like, I wouldn't change anything. I love myself. I'm great. Like, and it's just the recognition that somewhere along the line, we got really comfortable with the idea that there's always something
Mm-hmm.
wrong. right? That we've got to change something. And so it's getting back to that place of contentment and knowing you always want more. You're an ever expanding being, right? But you're good. And a lot of us can't even remember a time in our life when we felt that way. But we can look at little kids, right? Like we can look at little kids or pets and see them be and take notes, because that's the kind of comfortable we're talking. I mean, I can get super comfortable on the couch. I can get cozy. I can take a nap. I actually did that this morning, you guys. This is me being comfortable. I knew today, I thought today was going to be like a gentle workout day. I just was having a cozy day. That's why today's conversation is perfect. And I went out to I thought, okay, well, I'll just do yoga. That'll get me moving. And I laid on my yoga mat and fell asleep for 45 minutes.
I love it.
But then I got up and felt then I felt ready to do a workout. It was instead of forcing myself to do the thing I thought I should be doing, because I just laid down and took a nap. And then when I woke up, I was ready to work out. So
it's amazing.
Luckily I had the time.
Well, anyway. I want to compound what you were talking about with kids, because I have a couple notes here of so how do we get comfortable? How do we do this thing, right? Even if we think we're comfortable now. But I had this remembrance of, have you ever, when you were a child and you were in school, were you told to design a house? What rooms would you have in your house, and how would your house be laid out? And I remember the houses that I used to make, some of them would have slides and ball pits in the rooms. And there was a room with an aquarium where you could you'd swim through the room. But my house has always had a meditation room when I was a little kid, because I'm some kind of reincarnated monk. Okay. And I always had a meditation room. And if you think about your house now and what you would have put in that drawing as a kid, or what you remember doing, how closely does your house resemble that? Is there any part of your inner child that is satisfied with your house? Do you have a room with a weird colored wall, or do you have a room where you're allowed to be messy and have art projects and leave everything out? Do you have a meditation room, right? So start thinking about what your preference is wherever you are. It's outside in your yard. I have transformed my yard completely. When I moved in here, there was a very small strip of flowers in my backyard, and that's it. But I took over. I've made at least half the garden, and I'm keeping going. I'm digging a new garden bed right now. So how can you transform your house, your safe space, into something that's more reflective of you? So whether you need to think about your inner child, or what if you lived there alone? How would that change things? If you didn't have to think about your partner's taste or style, what would your house look like? I have to do that a lot, because I very often default to keeping the peace, to keeping my partner happy, to, and I'm also not a natural decorator at all. So it takes a lot of thinking for me to be what do I want this room to look like? But that's important. And I'm going to be doing that even more now, because it's important. I've worked on the outside. Now it's time to work on the inside a little bit more. So how can you feel comfortable? How can you allow your nervous system to relax and regulate in your spaces?
I like that question. I don't remember doing that as a kid, but I for sure, if I did, I was already thinking about I have a pool in my backyard. And if I do remember wanting a pool when I was a kid, but probably there would have been a slide from one of the upstairs bedrooms, down into the pool. We don't have that. But I did always want a house with a dumbwaiter, so that you could I could go in the little container and then be pulled up to or an elevator or something. We don't have an elevator in our house. We do have a laundry chute. And I also remember thinking that was the coolest thing. Oh my gosh, you could just throw your laundry down and it would go. And we do have a Harry Potter closet. We have a little cabinet under the stairs. Right now it's just full of like random stuff. But that, like, as a kid, I probably would have made that like my little cozy private space. So I could totally turn that into a meditation space.
Nice.
Yeah. So thank you for that. And it makes me think this is just maybe a bigger question. What does make you feel comfortable? Right? Is it like I've seen those like uh they're like autism hammock situations where they're like giant swings that you put in your house to like just wrap up in. Or for me, I love a weighted blanket. Like I can feel so comfortable under a weighted blanket. Or like I recognize I like spaciousness. So like I feel comfortable in a very clutter-free, clean, like kind of it just clean line environment where someone else might be comfortable in a room full of plants or, whatever. It's just sort of recognizing, oh, what are my preferences there? I like that question.
Yeah, it's something we don't usually think of. We just sort of take our environment for granted. And I've been doing this. Like a couple of years ago, Eric and I were looking for another property to buy to turn into an Airbnb. And I remember it being so excited, like, this is going to be a rainbow house. I'm going to make all the quilts for all the beds, and I'm going to decorate all the rooms, and they're going to look so cute. I'm going to be so excited about it. And then recently I've been like, well, why don't I just do that here? Like, why don't I just like take over? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a rainbow house, but I have quilts for most of the rooms, but I'm still working on one, and we don't have anything hung up in our primary bedroom. Nothing on the walls. And we have tons of art and tons of posters people have given us of natural things. And like I could totally decorate it and make it super cozy and super amazing. Why don't I put that much energy into our own home as I would something we wouldn't even live in? So, it's really just returning the spotlight to you and where you live and what you're doing each day and how to support yourself in life, right? Like you deserve to have all the support, right? And your higher self is always giving it to you. So the energy to support yourself is there. The energy to take care of yourself, to live in your preferences, to do all the amazing things you want to do, and the napping and the, putting the slippers on and the old sweatshirts, like that too. It matters. And how you treat your body and your space is really important. I've got a phone call with a nutritionist, a dietitian later today, because I wanted some help figuring out all of this eating stuff. Like I have a lot of food restrictions. I've been a lot more active in the last year and a half, and I just don't feel like I have it dialed in yet. I don't feel like I'm eating enough and getting the right things. So I booked an appointment, right? So take care of yourself, feel comfortable, and it's going to go a long way in what you attract.
That has me leaning into, are you comfortable feeling worthy? Because I haven't been for a long time. I mean, these past several years, but like I spent a lot of my life being uncomfortable, feeling worthy, being uncomfortable, fully accepting myself, being uncomfortable, like just always feeling like, well, with enoughness, right? So like I had to prove or show. And even like I'm thinking about fashion and like just thinking that I needed to show up in a certain way. And Rachel and I were just talking about the direction of this business that we're running and like where we want to go. And we're like, we are a lifestyle brand. And yet when I imagine lifestyle brand, I definitely I don't think of like, I have a very like different view of lifestyle brand than us. And it's not actually a lifestyle I want to live. So, yeah.
That's such a good question, because a lot of people think if I tough it out long enough, I'll get the things I want and then I'll feel better. But it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that.
You can tough it out long enough and get the things that you want.
But you won't feel better.
I know.
Yeah. So if it's money, let's say, because most people think of money when we say that. If it's more money you want, but you're struggling and you're hustling and you're toughing it out, maybe you'll get the money, maybe. But if you do, your debt will probably be bigger than it was now. And so the money's going to cancel that out, or your bills will be bigger, or you'll overspend anyway, because you think I'm worth it. More money will come in as well. And it just won't be what you really want. So we like to help people get multidimensional results where all areas of your life raise up. So when you get more money, you are happier. And usually you're happier and then you get more money. And your relationships are better, and you're not sacrificing anything except what no longer works for you. You're not sacrificing anything except what's not you, right? You're chiseling away the un-you so that you can be more you, so that more of what you want will come. Doesn't that feel better? That feels better to me. So, yeah.
I'm wondering if you guys can hear what we're saying. That's what I want to know. Like, is it landing? I'm liking Jane would have a mermaid tail. Jana would have a room for each mood. I love that. There'd be an angry room. You could go in and throw pillows, but then like shut the door on that. But like, is it like, is this making sense? Is this landing? Can you feel it? I want to know.
What kind of, I don't know if you've all noticed this, but when someone gets really famous, like a celebrity who, has been in a couple movies or something, then they hit the big time and their appearance changes a little bit. They're wearing crisper clothes, even if it is sweats, right? They just look new and, their face looks kind of evened out. Maybe they got a little something. Yeah, their teeth are done. Their hair is suiting them more. And I always saw that and I was like, I want that. I want to look like me. I want to look crisp and clear, right? And it happens because they have more money, for sure, but also because they've come into their own. They've come into themselves. They probably got the big role because they felt comfortable with who they are. And now their appearance kind of reflect that, right? And so things are a little smoother, they're a little crisper, a little cleaner. And that's possible for anyone. It doesn't take money to get that, right? So I like the visual manifestation of what we're talking about in that way, if you've ever noticed that.
Well, I remember it happened for me actually in the opposite way. So I was doing a lot online to build my coaching business, and I was participating in a lot of things. And I was somebody who was like putting videos on Facebook before people were really like putting videos on Facebook. And every time I did that, I would like get dressed and do my hair and put on a shirt that I thought like looked professional. And then one day I made a video from my car right before I went running. And I got so much feedback on that. Like, oh my gosh, I love this. This is so you. It was like, oh, I didn't know that people could see like I was trying to be professional in my other videos, and they were landing and people were responding. But it was like when I actually just showed up as myself in my running hat with, that was when people really heard what I had to say. And it's comfortable, right? It was comfortable.
Yes, it's comfortable. Yeah, that's how I feel about my short hair. It's so dirty right now, but I've gotten so many compliments on this hair, and I was kind of like taking a risk a little bit at the salon a couple of weeks ago, where like I wanted to go really short, like shorter than normal. And she was like, I don't know, are you sure? And I was like, yes. But I've gotten more compliments than ever because then I feel good.
Because you're comfortable.
Because I'm comfortable.
But if we take this all the way back to stretching out, being comfortable, but stretching your comfort zone, right? That haircut, right? Like you're comfortable. You knew you wanted to do it, but it was different.
Mm-hmm.
Me like not showing up all professional, like that was a little scary because I had some ideas around what someone should do when they're right. Like, and yet it just felt comfortable. And then in the doing of it, expanded, it enabled me to show up now in my sweatiness and my cozy sweats.
And that's the thing. We're not saying don't ever leave your comfort zone. We're just saying develop your comfort zone, and then leaving it will feel a lot easier when you really want to, right? When you want to go out there and do something different, you're going to feel a lot better about it, right? Yeah. All right. Well, we're there. We're at time. And I'm so happy that we got to chat about this. Thank you all for coming and listening. Thanks for participating. And we will see you next week. We love you. All right. Bye for now.
Bye,
Have a
guys.
good weekend and happy June.